Hello everyone, and welcome back to No Star Chaser. And today we are going to be watching Midnight's Kurzgesagt After Dark again. Night Shift. Kurzgesagt. I said that wrong. But we're going to be checking out the final days of Louis the 14th. And this is going to be another great history video. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you haven't checked out the original video first, make sure to give them a check out first. And without further ado, let's get into it.
The king opens his eyes, and the world rushes to serve.
Okay.
Dozens of hands move in perfect rhythm, layering him like a cake. Scented cloths are rubbed, gold-laced silk wrapped, and lace cuffs fastened. Then velvet drops and curls are locked onto the towering wig. Finally, the red-heeled shoes are slid on as the sweet and heavy perfume settles. The bedroom fills with hundreds more people, all eyes drawn to his burning presence. Louis XIV, the Sun King, the OG of absolute rulers.
The OG.
His existence is scripted without intermission. A calendar and a watch are all it takes to know his every move throughout the day. Louis XIV wields power over millions. But he's trapped by his own supremacy, a force that will tear his body apart and torture him with unimaginable pain. The Theatre of Absolute Power. It's 1682, and the king has finally moved into Versailles, his permanent home. More than 20 years in the making, this extension was among Louis's first royal projects. It's still unfinished, but it already outshines every royal estate, past and future. Its grounds could fit more than 40,000 tennis courts.
Wow.
And it isn't just a palace, but a trap wrapped in gold. Beyond the royal family and servants, some 5,000 nobles from every corner of France live here.
Man.
Far from home, they have no power, and that only makes Louis stronger. In return, he gives them glittering titles, tax breaks, and the illusion that they matter. Nearly 1/5 of the nation's government spending flows into Versailles to keep the king's friends close and enemies closer. He starts the day with breakfast and a bowel movement. Doctors inspect the royal poop while he heads to mass. Drums and fifes mark his entrance as the choir starts to sing.
Man, imagine having that job. You're the royal poop inspector. Guys, you probably would get paid a lot more than the common peasant in this age, so I dig it.
The music changes daily, a personal playlist composed just for him. God may reside in heaven, but here, Louis is his lieutenant. And duty calls. By 11, he's back in his quarters buried in letters, finance, and strategy with his ministers. The kingdom flows through his hands. The Sun King knows the status of every fortress and troop, and not just because he has to. He loves war. It's his favorite kind of glory. The goal is unapologetic. French territory everywhere, with his colonies stretching across the globe. Just like Kangxi, the Qing emperor, Louis is obsessed with grandeur. Yesterday, a ship of Chinese porcelain arrived, so he sends back a cannon. The afternoon continues with more diplomacy. Siamese envoys who've traveled for 2 years finally show up. Their jaws drop as the king greets them, draped in a coat completely encrusted in diamonds.
Whoa.
He showers them with gifts worth around $2 million today, a small price for the publicity this spectacle will bring. All that work has Louis starving. His orchestra performs as hundreds of eyes track each bite of his royal mukbang. He couldn't care less about
His royal mukbang.
cutlery and loves devouring food with his bare hands. And his appetite is perfectly matched by tonight's obscene menu. Soups and pigeons in gold-crusted pies, towers of chicken fricassee, partridges, tarts drenched in syrup. The smell of perfume, candle wax, butter and wine give the palace a heady aroma. But the real intoxication is not food, it's extravaganza. Tonight, 24,000 candles set the gardens ablaze. Rockets trace the king's initials in fire across the sky. Courtiers brag about partying through the night and sleeping through the day for weeks, lost in powdered wigs and champagne laughter. Louis's ego thrives on this indulgent chaos. But outside all the glitter and glam, the world looks quite different. Beyond the Golden Walls. Beyond Versailles, Europe is a giant strategy game of paranoid kings. France, the most populous kingdom, is levelling up fast. This is freaking out Spain, the Holy Roman Empire, England and the Dutch, who all team up to stop Louis XIV from eating the map. His ambition is to expand his realm to the natural borders of France, the Rhine, the Alps, the Pyrenees. He commissions over 100 star-shaped fortresses and strengthens the old ones, wrapping France in defences with 400,000 soldiers and 13,000 cannons standing ready.
That is a lot. For that time and era, that is a massive amount of troops.
Louis delights in joining his army on the battlefield. During his 72-year reign, he'll engage in 5 major wars, both on land and at sea. Genoa, one of the wealthiest ports in Italy, becomes the first European city to face the terror of his bomb catcher's explosive shells. A 10-day bombardment destroys half of the city. The message is clear: resist French annexation and fire will rain from the sky. Each conflict reshapes the map of Europe, absorbing Belgium, Lorraine, Alsace and Strasbourg into France. The price of glory is brutal. Even when the cannons fall silent, the army eats more than half the kingdom's money.
Whoa.
In wartime, the treasury
GDP of 50% on the military?
bleeds dry and peasants are squeezed with taxes until their pockets are empty.
Yeah.
The people grow angry, riots erupt, and the king answers with military crackdowns.
It's just... That's just a typical order of the olden era. Well, olden. But typical response is basically this. Most of them, the money goes to the military. People are starving. They try to get human rights, and then boom. Yeah.
To bolster his image, he funds newspapers that inflate his victories and downplay domestic problems. He orders the construction of hospitals in Paris to care for wounded soldiers and the poor who crowd the streets. But the hospitals are filthy, designed less to heal than to confine. Instead of curing, 17th century medicine is mostly just lessons in bearing pain. And the Sun King will face that himself. His glory doesn't just demand tribute from his people, it's about to turn on him as well.
Oh?
The body becomes a battleground. Before we close in on the Sun King, let's zoom out for a moment. Absolute rulers know that knowledge is power, and then, just like now, this includes getting the full picture.
Here we go, Ground
This is
News.
why we've been working with today's sponsor, Ground News, for over 2 years now. Ground News is a website and app designed to empower you, the reader, and to help you think critically about the information all of us consume. Every day, they gather thousands of articles from around the world and organize them by story. You don't just see one source, you see every source. Their unique feature is the ability to compare all these kinds of media sources in real time. The political bias, reliability, ownership, even specific differences in phrases and framing. This way, you can make up your own mind instead of just seeing one angle. To get 40% off their Vantage plan with unlimited access to all features, go to ground.news/.
Make sure to give this content creators some support. I mean, like, he makes incredible work. They all do. Them all in Kurzgesagt and over here.
Night or
I couldn't imagine doing this kind of level of quality. This is incredible.
scan the QR code on the screen. Using this link supports our channel and helps make the media landscape a more transparent place. And now, back to the Sun King.
Also, what are you eating there? Is that... Is that supposed to be popcorn? It looks like fingers.
On the outside, he looks unstoppable, fighting, hunting, dancing every day. It's glamorous and absolutely exhausting. But he knows that weakness is dangerous and the court can never see him crack. So he hides sleepless nights and smiles through fevers and joint pains. As he nears 50, his body slows and stiffens. Decades of gluttony and extravagance begin to take their toll. His frame grows rounder and he's increasingly suffering from toothaches. With no anesthesia and only the dentist holding his head still, the teeth are wrenched and pulled. One of the roots snaps and Louis can hear the bone crack as his mouth fills with blood. At night, he tries to dull the pain with wine, but as he chugs, it shoots up through his nostrils. The dental work has opened a tunnel from the king's upper jaw to his nose. In a few days, his mouth starts tasting of rot, his breath reeks, and people flinch when he speaks. The doctors try to burn this hole shut, leaving Louis unable to eat for days. And this nightmare was just a dress rehearsal for the century's most infamous surgery.
Oh.
Months later, he develops a truly royal agony, a swollen lump near his anus. The doctors try piercing it, burning it, injecting mysterious potions.
Not Uranus, guys. This is not Uranus. This is something worse.
Nothing works, and soon an open sore develops. The last option is surgery.
Well, I can't speak for you.
Problem is that his chief surgeon has never performed anything like this before. Surgery at this time is just glorified butchery. Amputations and haircuts, both done by barbers. So, the surgeon needs guinea pigs. He practices on condemned prisoners, perfecting both his courage and his cuts.
Oh.
Finally, it's the Sun King's turn. As the blade slices into the infected flesh, the king clasps the hand of his war minister and whispers, "Mon Dieu," only twice. 3 hours later, it's over. And though the operation was done in secret, a new fashion sweeps the court. Bandages wrapped around everyone's buttocks. Louis smiles, but he knows deep down he survived not thanks to his doctors, but despite them. The Age of Gory. The 17th century is Europe's medical twilight zone, and probably the worst time to get sick. Doctors will blame everything on your blood. So, for 1,000 years, the go-to cure has been to cut a vein and let the sick...
Yeah, the hot blood. Isn't it? They were always kind of going around this idea that you had too much hot blood, and you would get sick from that.
...flow out. Bleed between the eyebrows for headaches, cut under the tongue for a sore throat, and if a woman's periods are irregular, well, better get out the knife again. By the mid-1600s, blood circulation is discovered, and the invention of the microscope unveils a hidden universe of microorganisms, pulling medicine out of the Dark Ages. But this progress doesn't help sick people much. Doctors still use ancient treatments that can kill you faster than smallpox. Ironically, no one suffers more from outdated medicine than the most powerful man in the kingdom. By the turn of the century, the Sun King is in his early 60s, a miraculous age most people never make it to. He launches his longest and most expensive war for the Spanish throne, but gout, arthritis, and rheumatism keep him off the battlefield. Now, his main enemy is himself. The doctors do their usual bleedings and colonic cleanses, but nothing helps. With all his teeth gone, royal feasts are just a memory. All he wants now is to secure his dynasty, but a wave of measles tears through the royal family, killing his son, his grandson, and almost every other heir to his throne. They all receive the same treatment of bloodletting and laxatives.
And that doesn't work.
Still, death claims everyone around Louis. He is somehow spared, but not forever. The final performance. It begins with a chill running through his bones on a summer day when everyone else complains about the heat. With a sharp pain in his left leg, a black spot begins to bloom on the skin. It's gangrene, his flesh starving for blood. The rot crawls upwards, his flesh consuming itself and turning black. The sickly stench overpowers the incense in his bedroom. The blood the doctors draw is thick and dark. Even donkey milk, praised for its healing powers, doesn't help. The nights drag on, and nothing quenches his terrible thirst. He tries to keep working, but ministers can see death in his eyes. He faces it the way he faced everything else, as theatre. He summons his 5-year-old great-grandson, the future Louis XV, and tells him, "Try to remain at peace with your neighbors. I loved war too much. Do not follow me in that." Over the next few days, he says farewells to ministers, courtiers, and princes. "I am leaving, but the state will always remain," he says, before he goes out like a candle. The Afterglow. The last few decades of Louis XIV's life were a complete medical nightmare. But still, for 72 years, longer than any other ruler, he embodied the idea that one man could be the state. But the system he built was too costly and way too dependent on one.
Oh yeah, 50% into the military. That's good and all if your nation is thriving. But when things really hit the turn, natural disasters, yada yada, and your economy is down here, then it's just gonna spiral, just death. It's just gonna be like your economy is gonna collapse and your state is gonna collapse. And the French Revolution is actually coming up pretty soon because you're gonna have an incompetent king on the throne that can't handle the crisis. And you know what happens from there.
One megalomaniac trapped in a body with limits. Once reliable like clockwork and the source of his power, his robust physique started to fail. While he endured the brutal medical treatments of the time, the perfect image he demanded of himself began to fall apart until the Sun King was only a suffering, toothless man. But the dream of Versailles refuses to end. Frederick the Great of Prussia and Ludwig II of Bavaria went full fanboys, building their own glittering replicas of this fantasy. Even today, some leaders chase that same mix of ambition and ego, surrounding themselves with gold and spectacle to prove they're godlike. Their palaces are the afterglow of a desire for absolute power, but their human bodies still mark the limit of their influence.
Boom. That was another great video, and I'm so glad I got to watch that. If you guys like this video and you want to see different type of reactions or more from these people when they upload more, or regular Kurzgesagt videos, or whatever you want me to see, just let me know down below, and make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.